Previously on Xmen.
Episode 4, Motendo, Lifedeath Part 1, starts out um, with Jubilee turning 18, and her birthday is supposed to be celebrated by the Xmen, as she brings her desire to Magneto. Magneto says, no, we're not going to an arcade, we're going to spend your birthday practicing in Danger Room, and you need to get better at your powers. She and Sunspot were hanging out and decided to play with this video game that showed up called Motendo. Jubilee thought that it was probably a gift from Rogue, because Rogue said that there are surprises that they have for her birthday, but what does she really want to do? And Jubilee said that she really wanted to just go to the arcade with them. Turns out a video game console called the Motendo was actually made by Mojo, and it transported them to his world. It is kind of cool to look back at some of the highlights in the first season of Xmen, where it starts again with Knights of the Sentinels, where this time Sunspot's the one being kidnapped by the Sentinels, and then they run away. And then later on, they're being chased by Friends of Humanity. And then, for some strange reason, a phone starts to ring. And Sunspot says, maybe we should pick it up. Jubilee's like, but what if it's a trap? He asks, how can it be a trap? It's just a phone. They pick it up, you see this green shimmering just like in the Matrix, and they teleport through the telephone. Mojo comes and explains that they're in a video game, because his ratings have been down, and he's moving out of television, moving into video games. It seems to be a little bit self-aware, where Disney also made an announcement that they were trying to set up a gaming division. But whatever. Back to the episode. They go through a couple of stages. They go through Genosha, and then they go through Asteroid M, where Magneto is the quote-unquote final boss. We see someone once again help them in the fight against Magneto, and they get pulled out by a big hand, which turns out to be an avatar of Jubilee, where Mojo was testing the video game with Jubilee and Sunspot digital clones, and this one digital clone escaped into their computers before they shut down the testing. And so Jubilee and Jubilee's, digital avatar fight Mojo, and the Jubilee's avatar was taking out Mojo's legs, and we see Sunspot finally use his powers, and then both Jubilees hit Mojo with a large attack, which knocks him out. In the quote-unquote real world, we see Mojo gets knocked out, and we see Spiral standing behind him with a smile on her face, where it could be suggested that Spiral also took part in knocking out Mojo. We'll see. In Lifedeath, we see Storm and Forge working to get Storm's powers back. Forge eventually admits that he created the technology that probably led to Storm losing her powers. He said he left well before it was in the final stages, but after a war where he got injured, he had no resources and no money, and so he was working with the government. Turns out Storm heavily implied that Forge's Native American history should have let him know that it's not trustworthy to work with people in Washington. But she got very upset and tried to run away on a horse. The horse basically collapses, and she falls through the roof, and then the roof repairs itself, we see Storm and Forge being attacked by this raven, and the episode ends on a cliffhanger. I don't know what the raven could be. At first I thought it was the Shadow King, but I don't know why the Shadow King would be interested in Forge. So we'll have to see next week what this raven is. I think this was a pretty fun episode. I particularly liked the Jubilee and Sunspot part. It was quite interesting and quite fun. Once again, going down memory lane without overstaying its welcome. One thing that the Jubilee avatar did mention was that it's good to grow up, even though Jubilee might want to stay in video games and play and stay young forever. It's time to grow up, and again, I think that might be the creators of this episode turning the mirror back on their audience, saying it's great that they were able to bring back Xmen, but many years have passed, and hopefully we've grown up some in that time. And it also might have been to catch ahead if people were upset with how the episodes were turning out, saying if you don't like it, well, it's not meant for you. But I think they were covering their bases a bit too much. I'd say this has been a strong A-, probably one of my favorite episodes so far. I couldn't take my eyes off of it and didn't feel bored or distracted at any point in time. So thank you and have a good day.
Aurora! I was just coming upstairs after you.
What? How did I return here? By all things in the heavens!
Get out of my home, you damn demon! Ah!